Hello everyone and welcome to a new series here on the Planet Clutch YouTube channel. This is Total Extreme Wrestling and we are taking over WCW as Eric Bischoff. We are the head booker and this is November of 1997. So this is prelude of Montreal Screwjob and as I said, we are WCW. So obviously at this point in time, WCW is pretty stable. However, there are some issues that are beginning to arise. We've taken care of a lot of morale issues by offering up some bonuses, but just to kind of beef our roster up a little bit, and I mean, we're going to try to keep this as, as realistic as possible. What we'll do, we'll take a look at our main event picture. So let's take a look. So here in the main event picture, so we have DDP, he's got the 83 pop, Hulk Hogan with 96, Kevin Nash 84, Lex Luger with 79. I'm not necessarily big on Lex Luger, maybe he has some pop that he can give to some other guys, but for the time being, he's very useful to us. Randy Savage 85 pop, Rick Steiner with 66. Not sure about this main event push for Rick Steiner, but we'll keep it as is right now. Roddy Piper, he has an 80 pop. Scott Hall, 84. Scott Steiner, 66. Sting with 92. And of course the Giant with 81. And then let's take a look at our upper mid-card, just to see what we have here. So we have Booker T, 62. Buff Bagwell with 64 pop, Chris Benoit with 61, so I mean he's really on his way to becoming, the superstar that he becomes. Star quality C-. I'm sure he'll still get to where he needs to go. Kurt Hennig with 71, Eddie Guerrero nearly reaching 60, Conan with a 56, we have Meng 58, Raven with a 60, Ray Traylor, also known as Big Boss Man, he's at 58, so he's nearly at 60. Ric Flair, who, I'd kind of consider more in the main event picture here, he's got a bit of 76. You can see here in the Mid-Atlantic, though, he's up to an 86. Stevie Ray with 62. And we'll move down to the mid-card. And this is where things start to get a little messy. We have Alex Wright with about a 45 pop, Chavo with 46, Chris Jericho with 55, Malenko 54, Disco Inferno with a 47, Ernest the Cat Miller around 40, Goldberg, as we said earlier, we're going to really push him to the moon. He's at 46 right now. Hugh Morris with 44, Juventud Guerrera 46. So I mean, we have a lot of people here. Rey Mysterio 53, and Perry Saturn 53, Scott Norton. There's a lot of people here we can push, and also a couple of older guys who have a bit more popularity that we can probably share around a little bit. And then onto our lower mid card, we have people like Fit Finlay who can really be pushed. Same thing with Steven Regal, or better known as William Regal to most people. Ultimo Dragon, there's a lot of prospects here on this WCW roster, so there's obviously a lot that we can do, but something that I really want to take a look at is some of the big names that are currently out there. So, and we want guys that we can hire. So when you join the game, there's a bunch of different characters in the mod, like Adam Sandler, Chuck Norris, Rupert Murdoch, Sylvester Stallone, and I decided to keep these guys in the game. I mean, someone like Sylvester Stallone with 90 pop, if we could get him in on a short-term deal and kind of get some of our own guys over. I mean, this stuff happened all the time in the Attitude Era. You just think of Mike Tyson, Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone. These guys were brought in kind of as an attraction. So if we can bring in someone like Sylvester Stallone on a small contract and help get some of our guys over, I think that's a great idea. But people like Bret Hart, so obviously, you know, we want Bret Hart. Bret Hart goes to WCW, and, you know, in all realism, he's part of the roster, so let's see what it's going to take to get him. So we'll just give him that offer. Sid Vicious, another guy who came to WCW, we'll throw him an offer. And Warrior, I mean, he was there too. Another guy with a bit of pop that we can probably move around. Sylvester Stallone, like I said, I wouldn't mind bringing him in on, you know, maybe we bring him in for 6 months. Maybe he's a guy who can come in and really boost one of our upper mid-carders and get him into the main event picture. So, okay, so he doesn't want to work major TV shows. Okay, so that's fine. We can give him events and A shows. Yeah, so Chuck Norris. I'd like to bring in Chuck Norris too. So if we bring in Chuck Norris also on a similar deal, he's not going to want to work house shows and stuff. I mean, these guys aren't part of the, you know, they're not going to be here long term. They're basically brought in as enhancement for some of the upper mid-carders who we really want to push and share some of that pop. Alright, so let's proceed. And the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to book our first show of Nitro. So, as you know, the WCW backstage has pretty much always been a mess. So there's probably going to be a lot of these incidents, and we're really going to have to work hard to get the backstage rating back up, you know, at least to something more acceptable, around 75, anywhere above 75. Incident involving Chris Adams. Chris Adams got into a heated argument with a fan outside of the arena and had to be restrained before things were physical. Well, before he made things physical. As his employer, you now have to choose how to deal with the situation. Who even is this guy? Yeah, so I'm not even sure what he's doing here, so I'm gonna find him. See what this. Okay, so pissed him off. But William Regal's happy, so you know that's a guy who we're likely gonna push. Let's see what's going on here. So we want to try to fix some of these relationships. And I think Eric Bischoff, especially considering that's who we have taken over, can we not choose him? Eric Bischoff. Yeah, I don't see it here. Okay, so that's not good. I was gonna... Well, the original plan was to try to fix some of these relationships involving Eric Bischoff, but it doesn't seem as though we're going to be able to do that, so... Alright, we're going to have to look elsewhere. So... we're going to try... Let's try Ric Flair and Scott Hall. See if we can somehow fix this issue. I mean, NWO and Ric Flair, they never did get along, but we'll try our best. Oh, wonderful. So it backfired, and now he has a strong dislike relationship. Awesome. Ah, dear. Alright, so let's see what things are like here. Okay, so we look at Mid-South. Like, we need to boost our popularity in some of these areas. I'm not too concerned about Puerto Rico or Hawaii right now. But like, okay, so the tri-state area, we know that this is WWE territory. However, we do not care. So we are going to go to tri-state. And we want somewhere that's going to give us... So, 12,000 fans. Alright, so we want something between 9 and 14, we'll say. So, what do we got? Let me see it. Alright, so let's go to the Blue Cross Arena. So we'll sign that as our venue. And, okay. So, some of the storylines that came in this mod we're going to stick with. So we have the Giant, who's currently in a feud with Kevin Nash, and I guess Scott Hall as well. We have Buff Bagwell, who's in a feud with Lex Luger, trying to figure out who's the total package in WCW. Chris Benoit, currently feuding with Raven and the Flock. Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio Jr. That's not the correct spelling for Eddie Guerrero. Goldberg streak. So as you know, Goldberg had the big winning streak in WCW. We have Hulk Hogan and Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and Ric Flair versus Kurt Hennig, and that's a feud over the United States Championship. So let's see how we can really improve or, advance these storylines. Alright, so our first episode of Nitro is booked, and here are the results. So, since WCW has such a large roster and we don't really have developmental set up yet, I decided to toss all these guys into a battle royal just to make sure that they're on the show. So, in a poor pre-show match, we had Diamond Dallas Page winning the Royal. Diamond Dallas Page won the Battle Royale, and in the Final Four we had the Macho Man, we had Raven, Roddy Piper, and of course the Macho Man being the final elimination, and Raven got the most eliminations over the course of the match. So that match gave us a 70 rating, and okay, so it soon became pretty clear that Chris Adams was wasting on drugs, really affected his performance. So that's just great. So all those people in this match are now going to be pissed off. So Chris Adams, I think you've officially had your last match here on WCW. Oh, and Johnny Grunge. Awesome. Oh my god. Louis Spicolli. Rocco Rock. So it's 4 people. Wow. Alright, so to continue Goldberg's streak storyline, we had Goldberg beat Scott Norton in a squash match. Didn't have a lot of heat, but it did advance the storyline segment, and it gave us a 56, so not too bad. Alright, and our final pre-show match, we taking Harlem Heat taking on the Steiner Brothers. 74, and we had the Steiner Brothers making defense number 1 of their WCW tag team titles. So it wasn't there's no storyline around this, and maybe we'll head this way and set up a storyline between Harlem Heat and the Steiner Brothers, but not bad. 74. And we'll move on to Nitro here. And we kick off the show with Eddie Guerrero. He comes out to the ring. He calls out Rey Mysterio. He wants a shot at Rey Mysterio's Cruiserweight Championship. And of course, Rey Mysterio, being the face, immediately accepts the challenge. And then we proceed to the next matchup, where we have Eddie Guerrero retrieving the item. So this was a ladder match. And we had Eddie Guerrero defeating Rey Mysterio Jr. in a ladder match, and he wins the WCW Cruiserweight title. So that was a 73 overall match. So that's pretty good. We had Eddie performing at 68 and Rey at 66. So great performance by both. And moving on, we have the NWO. They cut one of their backstage promos, the black and white one. And they're basically calling out the Giant and Sting, saying that, tonight that the two of them have no chance against the NWO, and that even individually, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, they're going to take out the Giant, and of course, Hollywood Hulk Hogan has Sting's number, so they're pretty confident that they will win the 3-on-2 handicap match, which is the main event. Okay, so then we have a backstage segment where we have Gene Okerlund and he's interviewing Buff Bagwell. However, during the interview, Lex Luger walks by and Buff Bagwell didn't take too kindly to it. So Buff Bagwell chases Lex Luger and that proceeds to the matchup where we have Lex Luger defeating Buff Bagwell by submission with a torture rack. Only got a 64. Lex Luger turns in a 70, Buff Bagwell with a 60, so not terrible. And of course it advanced the storyline. And then moving on, we had Ric Flair. He's cutting a promo. This is a pre-recorded promo playing on a Titantron, where Ric Flair is promising everyone that he's going to defeat Curt Hennig and he will get the United States Championship. And of course that sets up our next match, which gave us a 78. Ric Flair defeating Curt Hennig at 13-10 by pinfall, and Ric Flair wins the WCW United States Heavyweight title. So, pretty good match. 78, we had Ric Flair at 76, Curt Hennig performing at 77. Alright, so before our main event, we have another angle. We have Sting and Giant meeting up backstage, and they're kind of going over their game plan, like how are they going to take out the NWO. The NWO, of course, has the numbers advantage. It's a 3-on-2 matchup. So, Sting just checking in with the Giant beforehand to make sure that they're on the same page and, to figure out a game plan. And now on to our main event. We have Sting and the Giant taking on the NWO. And it had fantastic heat and great wrestling. We had Sting and the Giant defeating the NWO. Sting defeated Scott Hall by submission with a Scorpion Deathlock. Wow. Giant was the weak link, struggling to keep up with everyone else in the ring. Yeah, he has 63. Wow. Sting turned in a 92, Kevin Nash with an 81. We have Scott Hall with an 89, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan with an 88. And both storylines were advanced. Where did we lose? Okay, so Sting was penalized for the low locker room morale. Giant was penalized for stamina. Oh dear. Alright, so this match was a bit of a shit show, but they turned in an 81. Not bad. I mean, we're really just getting a handle on all this, just to make sure, we know which storylines are going to work, which ones aren't, who fits in where, and obviously there's a lot of backstage drama going on here, so it probably affected the show. I don't know. I think we would be lucky maybe to get an 85. Maybe that's a stretch. Let's see. Oh, an 85. So that's pretty good. I'm impressed. It increased their popularity in 25 regions, and there were no issues. So 85 for our first show, I think that's pretty good. I'll take it. Alright, so let's see what has happened. Okay, so WWF news. We have the Animal turning heel. Wow. So Animal turns heel. Roddy Piper is leaving WCW. Just great. So it seems as though WWF are also trying to get Sylvester Stallone. So maybe we have to up our bid a little bit, maybe a bit more long term, because we don't want WWF to get him. I mean, we're obviously in a war, so we need to get him. And let's see. Let's just take a look at Raw. Let's see what happened. So they only got a 79, so that's great. So that means we beat them. We have Undertaker defeating Kane in the main event. Savio Vega defeating Holly and Bradshaw. Yeah, this wasn't a very good show. Triple H taking on Scott Taylor. Wow. Animal defeated Mark Henry. And backstage with the Rock and Undertaker. So that was, we actually done pretty good when considering what happened over on the other side. Let's see. Yeah, so we have a lot of people now that are annoyed. That's just great. Oh dear, just look at this. Oh my God. So, we've had one show, and we have all these people annoyed. We have Roddy Piper leaving. I mean, he's already handed in his notice, so I mean, I don't think there's anything we can do here. We have been handed down some new owner goals from Ted Turner. We'll have to check those out. And we'll have to remember to up our contract offer to Sylvester Stallone. Alright, so let's take a look at our owner goals. Oh, Jesus. So we need Meng to reach 65 overall popularity. Yikes. Okay, Dean Malenko reaching 65, that shouldn't be too bad. And, I mean, the Meng one might not be too bad either. It depends on where he's currently at. You cannot hire any wrestler whose class as being an MMA crossover. You cannot hire or extend the contract of anyone who is known to have problems with the law. You cannot hire any wrestler who is classed as a psychopath. Okay, that's fine. The final balance of WCW must not have fallen below 8 million. Okay, I think we can do that. When time expires, WCW must have as much popularity in America as it did when the goal was set. Yeah, I think that we can attain most of these. The one that I'm most worried about is Meng, but we might be able to pull that off. So, I think that we'll cut our episode off right here. I know it's been a bit short. You know, we're just getting things set up. So, basically, we are going to take this company and we are going to put it head to head with WWF, and we are going to try our best to make sure that we win the war this time, and that WWF, maybe they don't go out of business, but we definitely win the war. And I mean, it's going to be competitive, right? I mean, like we said earlier with Sylvester Stallone, we didn't necessarily intend on making him a big player in WCW, but now that WWF has jumped into the picture, we're definitely going to have to go all in. So we'll see how that goes. And as for now, that's it for the show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time, everyone.